What's going on, guys? It is Tony and Mr. Tom Cole of the NXL. And today, we're talking the NXL Europe. So are you ready for this, Tom?
I'm ready. I'm always ready.
I got some questions typed up on the old iPhone.
All right, we're good.
So first, we're going to start off with what truly sparked your interest in starting like a national paintball league? And then when did that begin for you?
So it was a foolish thought, but it was one. No, so I mean, I've been involved in paintball since I was a kid. I was I was a president of the NPPL, which is one of the original leagues back in the day, but I didn't really do that much with the nuts and bolts of running events. I basically was more involved in like the rules and that kind of stuff at that time. And I was working for the PSP, and I got an opportunity through our ownership group to help start this league, and so that was 2014-15, right around that ballpark.
So that's what I was looking for. So 2014-15.
2014-15.
And you said you've been involved in paintball a long time?
Yeah, since 1986.
What does the phrase bad company mean to you?
It means everything. That's my pro team. That's the team I played for forever. I played for probably like 20 years. So you still hear occasionally people yelling company, which used to be our kill
100%,
count. So
yeah.
I think that's cool. So
getting out there, some of that 10-man stuff too.
Yeah,
you
the
know?
10-man stuff. Yeah, I play occasionally. So yeah, you got to keep playing.
Still out there, got to keep the wheels fresh.
Yeah, you got to keep it. Plus, I think all promoters should play. I think everybody in the industry should keep playing, right? Because it reminds you why you got involved.
100%.
You know, love of the game. If not, you forget that stuff. So.
Oh yeah, the important part of what actually brought you, obviously, into paintball.
Yep, exactly.
Speaking of that, we're gonna hop back on track per se. What made you want to come over to NXL Europe? What was the idea behind that?
So I wanted to kind of create more of a unified front, right? So Europe had always kind of done their own thing with the Millennium, and so we had the Millennium and the PSP, or the Millennium and the NPPL, and they were all kind of doing their own thing. And I do think it kind of got stagnant in Europe. So I wanted to kind of bring some of that, refresh it a little bit, bring in some money from the NXL, right? Because they were in their own little cycle over here, and also kind of unify it so that we were playing with the same rules, same formats, and also wanted to restrict the amount of American teams coming over, which they're still mad at me for. But yeah,
is there a reason behind that?
Yeah, so I felt like having lots of American pros guest for teams and also having American teams come over in full, it was affecting European paintball. So a lot of the teams were just relying on their heavy hitters coming over from America, and they weren't creating new talent. So, and I felt like that was holding back European paintball. It was a time when European paintball was as good, if not better, than the U.S. And as we started to get better, they started relying more on our people to come in and pinch hit for them. And so we had teams that, like a team from Poland that had 4 Americans on it and 1 Polish guy. And when I said something to him, he's like, "It's too hard to create new players." And I'm like, "Yeah, but that's why we run leagues. So that you're creating new players." So
exactly.
That was part of it.
Speaking of these European teams, what has been your favorite memory or even event site of NXL Europe so far?
So I love Chantilly.
Chantilly.
I've
heard of that before.
Want me to go to Chantilly again.
Yeah.
So Chantilly is an amazing venue. It's got a beautiful backdrop. It's kind of like if you were picturing an event in Paris or in Europe and in France, it's kind of what you're expecting. It's got a big castle behind it.
Yeah,
it's at a hippodrome, which is a horse racing thing, so it's beautiful. And then I will say Barcelona was nice. When we stayed in Barcelona, we stayed at a hotel, and it was the first time that I felt like what people envision my life is like had actually become, because everybody thinks, you're gallivanting the world and you're doing all. But yeah, so people envision my life to be some glamorous thing, and that was the one time I was like, wow, I don't want to put these on Facebook. People will believe that that's what I'm living, so it was pretty good.
So you were like, I'm doing it. I made the dream.
Barcelona was really beautiful.
Okay. So what does the overall forecast for these events look like?
So Europe really hit a bad spell when COVID hit. They took a much longer break than we did in the U.S., and they restricted outdoor play even longer.
You're reading my mind, because that was literally the next question. So I'll just let him continue on.
So COVID really affected that much more drastically than it did in the U.S. And so one of the things we did is we cut most of our events to just 2 divisions, pro and semi-pro.
Yeah, because all the restrictions and all that.
Yeah, because of the restrictions, and we saw it cut back on teams, so we wanted to play it safe over here. So, and we've been pretty happy with that, but we really want to grow European paintball, so 100%. It's really, at some point in time, that's got to change, and we're really excited because this event, we're up about 30 X-Ball teams from last year. which is a huge number, right? So that's 30% increase.
That's
30% increase. So
yeah.
I feel more comfortable with the European market now. I think the industry's starting to feel comfortable with the European market. So we're going to do a deep dive into trying to figure out how many events we're going to have next year and how big the events are going to be.
So you covered the COVID thing, because like I said, that was the next question. But outlook, next 5-10 years over here for NXL Europe.
So
more teams, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, we're hoping to grow it across the board. I mean, obviously there's a little bit of a conflict going on in Ukraine and Russia, which is kind of causing some problems over here. But we think European paintball could be as big as American paintball. And it used to be. I feel like industry-wide, we've made some mistakes over here through time, but I think we can bring that back. One of the things that I think is really cool that we've done is the Champions Cup. So we will be bringing over 4 teams from Europe to play at the World Cup in the pro division, right? So, and last year the teams did better than anybody gave them credit for. Like, I read the post online, everybody was talking about how they were going to get destroyed, and I think the Tauntauns came in 3rd or 4th. So
came out swinging.
That's pretty good showing over there. So, and this year the European teams took it more seriously. So I believe we're going to have a good showing over in the States with the European teams.
So them obviously traveling over there.
Yep, them traveling over there.
So let's talk about Americans traveling here to play. Travel accommodations, like what should a team from America kind of be looking for when booking a trip to head on over?
So first, I would make sure you plan it as a little bit of a vacay, right? Something to bring the wife to, something like that, right? The events are going to be expensive, right, to come over here. It's going to be more expensive to go into event States. You look at tickets about $1,200 typically to fly over to Paris or London, or Holland, Amsterdam, wherever we're going to be next year. So it's expensive. And everything is smaller. So your hotels are going to be smaller, your cars are going to be smaller. So you're going to have to plan to be a little more spread out. I think that's one of the shocks Americans come to,
Your electrical plugs are different.
Electrical plugs are different. The showers are real little.
The drivers can be a little wild.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things,
the driving is challenging. I don't notice that as much now because I've been driving over here for a long time, but I definitely noticed the smallness of the hotel rooms and the beds.
Yes, so pretty much do your research before you want to make the trip over the pond and come on over to Europe.
And also look at it as a good time, right? Don't look at it as just a paintball tournament. It's got to be everything. You got to go see the Louvre or the Eiffel Tower or do something else to make it memorable. Yeah, so.
That brings me to my last question. We're gonna close this out. Like, if you had to do something while you're here, NXL Europe, Paris, France. I mean, we're in Dreux, technically.
Yeah, which is about an hour outside of Paris. Okay. I don't know of anything to do in Dreux, but I would go to the Louvre. If I was going to do anything, I would go to the Louvre.
And for people who don't know what that is, what is the Louvre? What famous painting is there?
I believe the Mona Lisa.
The Mona Lisa. You might have seen that one before.
The Mona Lisa's there. So, I mean, it's one of the iconic art museums of the world, and it just happens to be close to here. It's also, what is the movie where they're chasing all this stuff around? But anyhow, it's the Louvre.
The Louvre. So that's his answer.
Something you got to see.
A quick little catch up, with Tom from the NXL. I appreciate you, my man.
No problem.
Thank you for coming on.
Appreciate it. No, thank you.